Goragraganya Ganagotra Golaruharam Goranga Gurachama Gopyada Kolpa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavadam Satatam Namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachiya Dileka Kola Kahe Premananda Emona Goranga Hridoya Dariya Bola Bhaja Goranga Kaha Goranga Laha Gorangera Namare Bolo Bhaja Orangera Namare Jai Jana Goranga Bhaje Se Hoy Amara Pranare Jai Jana Se Hoy Amara Pranare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yasyaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema Bidana Padama Pumata Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavir api Gopala Sri Kriyat Kripaya Jadi Tadaiva Sambhaya Pitva Rishayustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunathapta Brajabala Bapahimam Vanchakopatarubhischa Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nityananda Padadvandvam Yesham Hrit Karnikalaye Tesham Dasan Udasoham Prasidantu Sadaivahi. I'm the servant of the devotees in whose hearts reside the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. May they be pleased with me always. So we're trying to say something because Candramauli Maharaj gave us an order. I can remember I speaking with Jamuna Mataji and Malati and some of the others. Srila Prabhupada sometimes instructed them, you should speak. And can you imagine how they would feel speaking in front of Srila Prabhupada? I think it's something like a little child who is about 4 months old, is not able to walk yet, and is trying to walk. And the father of the small child is a famous Odissi dancer. And the child is trying to imitate his father. What is the value? The child can't even walk yet, but there's a value there. It makes the father smile. So Candramauli Maharaj, if we say something that makes you smile, then we'll feel we're successful something. Thank you for getting some opportunity to do some service. It's so wonderful to see all the devotees here today. I want to say a little bit about two subjects and their connection together. Entering or creating Vrindavan, maintaining Vrindavan, because you're all leaving today, and you've come to Vrindavan, you've been in Vrindavan so long with your Guru Maharaj, and now you have to go back to that nasty place we call the material world. So you want to take some of that with you. And the second subject we want to speak about in connection with that is Keshi Dhamana Lila. Sometimes we speak about this subject for about 1 week. So today is going to be a little abbreviated. I'd like to begin with some prayers which were composed in Sanskrit by a friend of mine, one of my Guru Janas, Kushakrata Prabhu, along with a poetic translation by Dravida Prabhu. Nanala Sadgora Sudha Prakasha Falakshito Stapita Ena Yena Krishnanu Jana Sangha Brikshas Tam Kirtayama Prabhupada Devam. The Hare Krishna movements, a desire tree whose fruits are all the splendid ways Lord Gaura's army wins recruits to plant the tree upon the earth. From Krishna's realm he came, the vast renown of Srila Prabhupada I now proclaim. Yo nityada no nityada jivati daivikishu nijasu sikshasu susanagami kripam buddhir nanda sutashritatma tam kirtayama Prabhupada devam. An ocean of compassion he's taken shelter of. Sri Nanda's son with all his being and everlasting love. He lives on by his words. With him his followers remain. The vast renown of Srila Prabhupada I now proclaim. So I'd like to read you a little something. This is from a lecture Srila Prabhupada gave in near Ocala in Hawaii. On the 25th of May, 1975. He says, Prabhupada said, so Vrindavan is also forest. So create Vrindavan. Keep Krishna here. Cows here, calves here. Produce your own food. It will become Vrindavan. This is Vrindavan. Where there is Krishna, where there are cows, where there is agriculture, that is Vrindavan. So Srila Prabhupada wanted devotees to create Vrindavan villages. Another talk here in India, in Aligarh, in 1976, Prabhupada said, a devotee, wherever he is, that's Vrindavan. Tirtha kurvanti tirthani. A devotee, a pure devotee, can make any hell a tirtha, a holy place. That is devotee. Wherever there's Krishna, wherever there's Radha Krishna temple, that's Vrindavan. That is Vrindavan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only went once to Vrindavan. Does it mean he was not in Vrindavan? So what is the nature of Vrindavan? We want to speak a little something about entering into Vrindavan, but first, what's the definition? I know of several people who've created kind of Vrindavan theme parks. Like you go to Disney World or Disneyland and they have rides and things. And that's nice, better than Disneyland, to be sure. But is that really Vrindavan? Just to put some pictures up and make some statues and things. What is it that makes Vrindavan? And sometimes, I don't know about all of you, maybe I'm just such an unfortunate person, but sometimes even when I'm in Vrindavan, it doesn't always feel like Vrindavan. Sometimes it's a very crowded place. Vrindavan is a place where there's no envy. And Srila Jiva Goswami gives a very beautiful example of that. In Gopal Champu, he says, Yakalu purvam tad apatya samapati abhavan nirveda vedana yachakta praya pariskaraha. That Mother Yashoda, she wanted a baby. She wanted a baby so bad. And when the ladies of Vrindavan understood that she wanted a child, to show support for her. Whereas sometimes we see ladies, especially if they get married around the same time, and one gets pregnant and the other one doesn't. The one who's not pregnant, she says, "Oh, that's so nice. I'm very happy for you that you're pregnant." And they're not so happy. Some envy is there. They're wishing they could have a child. But that's not the mood of Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, when all the gopis, the elderly gopis, realized that Yashoda wanted so badly to have a child, to show solidarity with her, they all gave up wearing their ornaments until Mother Yashoda became pregnant. That's Vrindavan. Sometimes people, they say that Vrindavan is a place where all the devotees are completely bewildered by Krishna. But Srila Sanatana Goswami, through the words of Narad Muni actually, says that that's actually not the fact. If someone thinks that the Brijbasis are bewildered by Krishna and that's Vrindavan, they don't understand Vrindavan. And Sanatana Goswami explains, Krishnena nabraja jana kila mohitaste taisavya mohi bhagavan iti satyam eva. Satyam means the truth. Iti satyam, this is the truth. Gatvamayaiva sahi vismita deva karyo nusmarita kimapi kritya maho katanchit. He says the people of Braj are not bewildered by Krishna. He says the truth is, Krishna is bewildered by them. And so much so that he forgot. Parityanaya sadhanam vinashaya tuduskritam dharma samstarpanarti. And Narad Muni said, I had to come and remind him, hey, Krishna, remember, you got to go to the office. You've got work to do. And he goes, oh, that's right. Parityanaya sadhanam vinaya dharma samstapanarte. I have to go and do those things. That's Vrindavan. Vrindavan is so dear to Krishna because of the devotees. There's a beautiful lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave. I had to do some detective work to find out about this because I found this in the Back to Godhead magazine. And it was printed in 1976 during the time of Srila Prabhupada, but this lecture does not appear in the folio. So how is that possible? So it was in Mauritius when Prabhupada was visiting there, and the Prime Minister, they invited Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada gave some lecture in front of them. And I spoke with Arjun Prabhu. I don't know if you know him, Mauritius, your godbrother. And he, one eye, you might recognize him. Anyway, he was there at that time, and he told me the story that they recorded this lecture, and then they sent it to Los Angeles, and it was transcribed, and then they lost the cassette. So it was printed in Back to Godhead, but it was never actually printed after that. But listen to what Srila Prabhupada says. He doesn't use the word Vrindavan, but he describes the principle of Vrindavan. Vedic culture is based on the principle of love between husband and wife, father and son, the king and the citizens, and so on. Civilization must be founded on love, not law. Isn't that a great statement? Maybe I can say that again. You could all repeat after me. Civilization must be founded on love, not law. Civilization must be founded on love, not law. By law, Prabhupada said, you cannot make a person love you. We made a law, we made a rule, you're all supposed to love me. It doesn't work like that. First he must love you, then he will gladly follow your law. Modern civilization, is a very deep comment Prabhupada makes now. Modern civilization lacks this basis of love, and so the result is everything is superficial and false. That's really a packed statement. We can think about that. Our community, if our community is superficial and false, If our relationships are not so deep, Prabhupada explains here, it's because it's not on the basis of love. Maybe it's on the basis of law. And Prabhupada goes on, but if devotion to Krishna is made the basic principle, then people will be happy. This is Vrindavan. Vrindavan is based on love, not law. When Krishna went very humbly to Hastinapur as a messenger on behalf of the Pandavas to propose peace with Duryodhana and the Kauravas, Duryodhana tried to do some politics with him and get Krishna on his side. And Krishna at that time told him, a famous verse often quoted by our acharyas in the Mahabharata, he said that Yastan dvesti samam dvesti. Yastananu samamanu. He said, Duryodhana, you don't understand. If someone hates my devotees, they hate me. And if someone loves my devotees, they love me. So as we were speaking last night, Candramauli Maharaj asked Radhanath Maharaj to speak something about Govardhan Eco Village. And someone may protest, he didn't say anything about Govardhan Eco Village. He just talked about devotees. If you're thinking like that, then you're seeing something external. You're not seeing internal. He was speaking about Govardhan Eco Village. Because Govardhan Eco Village means devotees. Vrindavan means devotees. And just for me to speak to you in a really frank way, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but sometimes I joined this movement. The first books I came across of Prabhupada in 1971. And I met the devotees in 1978 and moved in the temple in 1982. And even in 1982, things were pretty simple and sweet. As Shruta Kirti Prabhu was saying to me the other day, I think he was telling all of you, I liked it so much. He said that it used to be the temples were poor, but there was lots of ghee. Now the temples are rich, but there's no ghee. So there was a lot of ghee in those days. And there was a sweet kind of mood also. And today, it's a difficult thing. One wise person once said that to overcome adversity is not such a difficult thing. But to survive success, that's very difficult. So our society has survived so much adversity for so many years, even devotees being abused and attacked. It's going on today in Bangladesh. Just a few days ago, they burned a temple and some of the deities there. Adversity is still going on in places, but for the most part in our movement, especially in India, in Europe, in America, we have so much success. People are coming like anything. But can we survive that success? Now you may think that doesn't make sense. What do you mean, survive success? By survive, I mean keeping that Vrindavan mood. You can, I think all of you sometimes speak to Krishna or to outside persons, to non-devotees. You can picture in your mind going maybe out on the street and inviting someone, telling them, please come to our temple. It holds 50,000 people. You should come and see it. It's really far out. And imagine the result, the kind of response you would get from that comment. And then imagine in your mind, you're also going out on the street and you tell someone, why don't you come and visit our community? We have a very small, intimate community. And imagine their response. People, for the most part, are not really interested in football stadiums, but they're very interested in community. And that's why I think all of you are here today, because you came with your gurus. You want to have some sweet, intimate sangha. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati described in one article in The Harmonist, he said that platform preaching, what do you call it? Sorry?
Yeah, he's the platform speaker.
Yeah, the platform speaker.
Is not as...
Want to give Maharaj a microphone?
I'm not sure I can quote it verbatim, but it's more effective to one-on-one as opposed to the platform speaker. So he was saying that those who serve by talking, counseling, enlightening persons on a one-on-one basis are more effective in bringing in Krishna consciousness than those who are up on the platform. That's the essence. Yeah.
It's confusing to us sometimes. We say that bhakti is the natural propensity of the soul, and that everybody can practice bhakti, but then we also say that it's very, very rare. How do we understand those two things? What's natural is everyone can chant the holy name, but to find persons who are actually even interested in prema bhakti or braj bhakti, much less persons who are actually on that platform, that's very, very rare. And that's the purpose of this movement. We should remember that. So we should figure out how to survive our success. And what is at risk is losing the revolutionary spirit. Losing the vision that we want to make the whole world Krishna conscious. Losing the vision that we want Krishna prem. Not just religiosity, and I chant this number of rounds, and I follow this number of principles, and I get up at this time of day, and I do this thing, and that's very good. And we encourage people like that. That's part of our movement. But we also have to have something deeper. Because by nature, we're hankering for that. Over the last 30 years, we've taken, thousands of devotees, tens of thousands of devotees on parikramas in Jagannath Puri. And to help them to get some understanding of the place, we put a picture frame on it, just like a picture frame helps to set off the picture. And we explained that this place, Jagannath, it's the Jagannath Puri University of Braj Prem. It's a university that was opened by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in which each different tirthastali, sacred place, is a classroom to teach us how to enter into Vrindavan. And the first classroom is the Jagannath Mandir. And it represents several things, but for our discussion today, we'll just focus a little on one of them, which is it represents organized religion. And sometimes it's a little messed up. They don't allow Haridas Thakur inside the temple. There's some politics sometimes and things. But still, in spite of that, Jagannath stays there. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, according to Lochan Das Thakur and Chaitanya Mangal, was going there 4 times a day. So from that, we can understand that whether we like it or not, sometimes we complain about it. Wherever I go, devotees complain about organized religion. It's their favorite thing to complain about. Whether we like it or not, God supports organized religion. It's important. Srila Prabhupada wanted that. But in the same classroom, in the same university, there's a different classroom, wherein Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us how to survive the organized religion. And that place is called the Gambhira. And it's a place where Mahaprabhu comes with just a very few intimate devotees. And we need that. We want to support the Jagannath Mandir and the organized religion and book distribution and mass preaching and create a revolution and make the whole world Krishna conscious. That's Srila Prabhupada's desire. It's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire. But it doesn't mean you're going to get along with everyone. It doesn't mean you're going to have the same mood as everyone. And if you try to do that, just like someone who says, I love everybody. If you say, I love everybody, it really means you don't love anybody. Because you don't understand the principle of love. Love by nature is a kantik. If I love my wife, it means I'm not saying the same that to other ladies. That's not real love. So we should learn to love devotees, and we can enter into Vrindavan. How do we love devotees? There's a beautiful verse in the Satvata Tantra. Hari lila sutochara pareshu sutatam tvaya karya pritistava hare yata bhakti nanashyati yata bhakti nanashyati. Very simple Sanskrit. If you want to protect your bhakti, if you don't want your bhakti to be destroyed, here's what you should do. Hari lila sutochara pareshu. You should learn to love devotees. And how do we love devotees? By going to a movie together? No. By going shopping in the shopping mall together? No. We learn to love devotees by hearing Krishna Katha, by coming and going on parikrama with Maharaj. That's how we learn to love devotees, by doing kirtan together, by having Krishna Katha together. So this is Vrindavan. This is a Vrindavan we want. Now let's say a few things about Keshi. Srila Prabhupada has translated the story of Keshi in Krishna book, and I'd like to just read that to you. It's his summary of the 37th chapter of the 10th canto. It's rather short what he says, so please listen. After being instructed by Kamsa, the demon Keshi assumed the form of a terrible horse. He entered the area of Vrindavan, his great mane flying and his hooves digging up the earth. He began to whinny and terrify the whole world. Krishna saw that the demon was terrifying all the residents of Vrindavan with his whinnying and his tail wheeling in the sky like a big cloud. Krishna could understand that the horse was challenging him to fight. The Lord accepted his challenge and stood before the Keshi demon. As he called him to fight, the horse began to proceed towards Krishna, making a horrible sound like a roaring lion. Keshi rushed toward the Lord with great speed and tried to trample him with his legs, which were strong, forceful, and as hard as stone. Krishna, however, immediately caught hold of his legs and thus baffled him. Krishna was somewhat angry, and thus he began to whirl the horse around. After a few rounds, he threw him 100 yards away, just as Garuda throws a big snake. Thrown by Krishna, the horse immediately passed out. But after a little while, he again regained consciousness, and with great anger and force, rushed toward Krishna again, this time with his mouth open. As soon as Keshi reached him, Krishna pushed his left hand within the horse's mouth. The horse felt great pain because the hand of Krishna felt to him like a hot iron rod. Immediately his teeth fell out. Krishna's hand within the mouth of the horse at once began to inflate, and Keshi's throat choked up. As the great horse began to suffocate, perspiration appeared on his body, and he began to throw his legs hither and thither. As his last breath came, his eyeballs bulged in his sockets, and he passed stool and urine simultaneously. Thus the vital force of his life expired. When the horse was dead, his mouth became loose, and Krishna could extract his hand without difficulty. He did not feel any surprise that the Keshi demon was killed so easily, but the demigods were amazed. And out of their great appreciation, they offered Krishna greetings by showering flowers. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his Chaitanya Siksamrita, in Krishna Sanghita, he spoke about the Naimitic Leelas of Krishna. I think there's 26 different ones, if I recall correctly. Naimitic means occasional, as representing different obstacles on our way to Vrindavan. We want to go to Vrindavan. We want to establish Vrindavan. We want to make Vrindavan villages, as Srila Prabhupada was saying. But there's some obstacles. So Keshi Vada is one of those obstacles, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains this in Chaitanya Siksamrita, very simple Bengali. Ami Boro Bhakta, O Acharya, E Abhiman, Aishvarja Budi, O Partiva Hankara Bharjana. Ami means myself. Ami Boro Bhakta. I'm a big devotee, isn't it? They're videoing me right now. I have a garland. Only Maharaj has a bigger garland, but I'm a big devotee. O Acharya Abhiman. I have this mentality. I'm just waiting. I see so many problems in ISKCON. The real problem is they're not coming to me and asking me my opinion, asking my advice. As soon as they do that, then I'll solve all the problems. We have this attitude that I am the Acharya, Acharya Abhiman. Aishvarya Buddhi, having this kind of opulent mentality, this mentality that everything is based on force and based on money. Oh, Partiva Ahankara. We have this ahankara, this false ego, Partiva. And Partiva means that I'm the king. I'm the best of all the devotees. Partiva Ahankara, Varjana. Varjana means to destroy or make go away. This is the pastime of the Keshi demon. So Bhaktivinoda Krishna Samhita describes, Gota Katmahatastena Keshi Raja Madasuraha Matturam Gatukamena Krishnena Kamsavarina. When Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, decided to go to Mathura, the horse demon Keshi, who personifies the vanity of political ambition, was killed. I remember many years ago, I was in Mayapur speaking to a very senior devotee who somehow had some affection for me, and that devotee told me, he said, Madhavananda, you have to think about your career in ISKCON. I was having a really good day up until that point. After that, I became very depressed. I didn't come to ISKCON to make a career, but sometimes we find that. Someone comes with some political ambition. Bhaktivinoda goes on a few chapters later to speak again about Keshi. Bhakti teja samidyatu sukarsha ganavanadaha kadacha dushta buddhyatu Keshi grinam avannate. Keshi, a demon in the form of a horse, personifies the practitioner's conception of being more expert than others in devotional service. Very interesting thing. I know more verses than other people. Therefore, I must be a great devotee. I know how to cook more different types of offerings. I know how to cook very traditional Bengali. I was trained by Bhakti Charu Maharaj, someone may say, how to cook in Bengali. Prabhupada trained Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Therefore, I'm better than other devotees. Or I know so much about the subtleties of Vanashram Dharma and culture. Therefore, I'm a better devotee than other persons. But they don't understand the principle of bhakti and the principle of Krishna, who's Bhavagradi Janardhan. He appreciates the mood of the devotee and what they're offering. Just as Srila Prabhupada, that famous story I think everybody's heard so many times. In 26 Second Avenue, Prabhupada was giving a lecture and some drunken bum staggered into the temple suddenly. And the devotees were getting up. Brahmananda was going to send him out. Prabhupada said, no, let him. And he had a roll of toilet paper in his hand, that old drunk. And he came, put that in the bathroom. Prabhupada said, see, he's also making an offering. And Prabhupada appreciated him. So who's to say that offering of that drunken bum is not as good as my offering of giving a class or leading a kirtan or doing this or that? Krishna's Bhavagrahi Janardhan. He sees the heart of the devotees. And we should understand that. So when this propensity arises in us, that we equate bhakti in some materialistic way, according to dress, according to ashram, according to expertise, and some activity of devotion, then we think I'm more advanced. So Keshi, when he comes to Braj, he creates a great disturbance. And this is something we want to speak about. As a Vaishnava gradually begins proclaiming his own superiority, a mentality of disrespect for the Lord arises, and the devotee falls from his position. Therefore, it is most important to prevent this evil mentality from entering the heart. Even if one is expert in devotional service, a Vaishnava will never give up the quality of humility. If one does so, then there is need for killing Keshi. This is the 18th obstacle to bhakti. So let's look a little bit in the Bhagavatam, and we'll speak a little something from some of the commentaries. This pastime takes place in the 37th chapter of the 10th canto. Shukadeva Goswami describes in the first verse of that chapter, Keshi tu kangsa prahita karai, Keshu tu kangsa prahita karai mahim, mahahayo, nirjarayan manojava, satava dutbhatra, vimana sankulam kurvana boheshita bishita kila. Avaduta abra vimana. This is Keshi when he entered into Vrindavan. So let's look back a little bit, what we've been speaking about. We want Vrindavan. That's naturally why you come together in a small group. You want something intimate and deep, something really meaningful. And so there in Vrindavan, Krishna is the center of everything. And the devotees are in so much ecstasy. And then who shows up uninvited to the party? This big guy making a big noise named Keshi, of Adutabra Vimana. And Satta, his hair is so big. The word Keshi means hair. It's one of the meanings. And hair is something we often means there's a saying that I'm a queen crowned by my curls. Sometimes ladies, they think like that. Prabhupada, he said in one purport, he said that hair combing is one of the main businesses of women. Don't mind me saying. How many ladies could give up combing their hair, brushing their hair? It's a very difficult thing. And that's why devotees shave their heads. And even ladies, after their husbands leave, they shave because there's so much vanity there. Not just in women, but also in men too. So when Keshi comes in, Keshi's like the challenge horse. And Keshi's sent by Kamsa. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Kamsa represents the head of mundane religiosity. He's supposed to be a Rajarshi, a Raja Rishi, a saintly leader. And actually, he's not too bad in terms of vanashram and things. He just has one defect. He hates Krishna, and he hates Krishna's devotees. Other than that, he's probably a good manager and good organizer and things. But he sends Keshi on his behalf. Keshi comes, and Keshi comes running in at the speed of the mind. And he disturbs, his hairs disturb all the vimanas, all the demigods' planes in the sky. The Devatas here represent those personalities who are really in charge of organizing religion. And Keshi, when he comes in, it disturbs him. He comes running into Vrindavan. So who is Keshi? Gargamuni in another place describes that Kamsa, very, very proud of his strength. When someone has a lot of muscles, they have to go and fight. When someone they've studied a lot and they become a big, big pundit, then they have to go and do debate. So Kamsa had this great power. And he went by himself to Mahishmati city. And he challenged all the powerful people there. He said, if I defeat you, you become my servant. And if you defeat me, I'll be your servant. And he defeated Mushtaka and Chanura, Kutashala, Toshala, all the different wrestlers there, who were the sons of the king of Mahishmati. And then he made them into his servants. Then he went and fought with Davida Gorilla for 20 days, and he defeated him. And then Kamsa went to Rishyamukh forest, where Lord Ramachandra had previously stayed. And there was a great demon there, whose name was Keshi, who had the form of a horse. And Kamsa came before that horse demon and started punching him in the face again and again. And by doing so, he subdued that horse, and then Kamsa jumped on him and rode him to Mount Mahendra. So this is Keshi, and this is Keshi's connection with Kamsa. So Keshi came entering into Vrindavan, and Krishna saw this guy, he's spoiling everything. My devotees here, they're so humble, they're so sweet, they're so shy. We were hearing from Radhanath Maharaj last night how naturally shy he is. And so when Krishna saw that Keshi was creating this disturbance, Krishna came before him. And the Bhagavatam describes that Keshi made this loud sound of a horse, and Krishna made the same sound. In other words, indicating he's making fun of him. Sometimes you make fun of someone like that. My wife gets annoyed with me when I do that. When I repeat what she says, I'm the same way. That's how you challenge someone. Huh? And Keshi replied, roaring like a lion, "Hey, don't you know who I am?" At that time, the Vishnu Purana describes the Brijbasis. Trahi Trahiti Govindaha. They all started calling out to Krishna, Trahi, Trahi, Trahi Mam. Oh Krishna, Krishna, please protect us. Sutvatesham Tato Vacha Satayo Jaladadvana Gambhiramidam Uktavan. They're all calling out, please save us, please save us. And then Krishna replied, Gambhiramidam Uktavan, in a very deep voice. Gambhira means something very deep. Krishna replied in a very deep voice, Alam Chasena Gopala. Hey, why are you all afraid? This silly horse. Why? Because of him, you've lost all your courage? What is the use of this horse? He has no strength. He's very proud. He's just running around, making lots of noise. So this is the way things work. Sometimes we begin with a very sweet sangha. And it's so sweet and nice, other people see it. And the sangha becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And then all of a sudden it becomes like a city. It becomes like organized religion. And some of the sweetness is lost. And then what happens, we may still have some sweetness, but then Keshi shows up. A devotee who's acting like a great politician. And what does he do? What is Keshi's strength? Keshi has a big mouth. He comes running in at the speed of the mind, the Bhagavatam says. He's just on the mental platform. And he's making a big, big noise. As Bhaktivinoda says, Ami Bodho Bhakta o Acharya Abhiman. I am a big, big devotee. I'm Acharya. Don't you know who I am? And he comes running into that intimate sangha of devotees, making that kind of proclamation. So they become afraid. The devotees are not afraid for themselves. They're not afraid of anything. But they're afraid for their sangha. They're afraid for their Krishna Katha and their Krishna Kirtan. And then Krishna tells them basically here in these verses from Vishnu Purana, don't worry about it. It's okay. I'm here. As long as you take shelter of me, everything is okay. So this is the 18th obstacle to bhakti, to entering into Vrindavan, to establishing Vrindavan. This is a movie coming soon to a theater near you. If it hasn't already happened once or twice or more already, it's something we have to deal with. And some people, that they decide they're going to go and fight with Keshi. There's a local Brijbasi story in Vrindavan that Madhavananda was a little transcendentally envious of Krishna. And one day he complained. He said, Krishna, I don't understand. This is not right. You're just a Vaishya. You take care of... I'm a Brahmin. Why does everybody give ladus and makkan and things to you? They don't give to me. I'm a Brahmin. They should give to me. And Madhavananda said, you know, I've been thinking about it, Kana. And I figured out the secret. It's your dhoti, your pitambar dhoti. That yellow dhoti. It's your peacock feather, so beautiful, and it's your vangsi, your flute. Krishna, could I borrow those things from you? And Krishna said, Tatastu, so be. And he gave Madhavananda the dhoti, and the peacock feather, and the flute. And Madhavananda started going places, and he kind of stick the peacock feather around the corner and the flute a little bit, and kind of flash the dhoti. And people would say, oh, Krishna's here. Krishna, you want some ladus? Yes. And they were giving Madhavananda so many ladus and sweets. And Madhavananda was having a very good day. Huh? Meanwhile, in Mathura, Kamsa was getting this news that every demon he'd sent there was killed. So finally, Kamsa called for his good friend Keshi, who he could depend on. Keshi, I want you to go to Vrindavan and kill Krishna. And Keshi then asked, he said, well, how do I recognize him? And you got it, maybe. Kamsa said, well, you'll reckon he has a peacock feather on his head, he has a flute, and he has a yellow dhoti. Keshi said, okay, boss, I got it. And so Madhavananda was having a very good day, big bag of ladus, and everything's going his way. And Keshi came entering into Vrindavan, running. And Madhavananda saw him, his eyes became very big, and he turned and started running. And Keshi was thinking to himself, Kamsa said that Krishna was very powerful, a great hero, but he's just running away. He's a little fat, doesn't look like such a hero to me. And Keshi just kicked in the direction of Madhavananda. He didn't actually touch Madhavananda. But when the air from the hooves of Keshi hit Madhavananda, he went flying through the air, and he crash landed. And then Madhavananda got up, got himself together, and he went running to Krishna, and he was taking off the peacock feather and the dhoti, and he said, here, I don't want these things anymore. You can have these things. Just like sometimes devotees in our movement, they want to be the temple president. They want to be a leader, huh? And they take on all these different trappings and title and things, and then Krishna gives them a good kick. And then they decide, I don't want these things anymore. I'm renounced now. I'm giving up all these things. So we should take shelter of Krishna. If we take shelter of Krishna, when Keshi comes, Keshi becomes very, very insignificant. Satam nisabhimukho makena kam. The Bhagavatam describes that Keshi was making such a noise, and his mouth was so big it was like going to swallow the sky. And when he came running in, Krishna dodged from Keshi's attack. And he grabbed Keshi by the legs, as Prabhupada was saying, and whirled him around and contemptuously threw him. And then Vyadaya Keshi, the next verse describes, Vyadaya means someone is opening his mouth. Because that's the only strength that Keshi has. He's got a big mouth. That's all that he's got. He just makes a big, big noise. And he's got a lot of hair. He looks really important and things. And he disturbs all the sweet devotees who just want to come together for a nice, intimate kind of sangha. And so Keshi came again. And Jiva Goswami says that just as a curious person will put a snake in a mouse hole without fear, Krishna just very casually put his fist in Keshi's mouth. Now, which hand did he put in Keshi's mouth? His left hand. And that also has some significance, because what do we do with the left hand? Let's not talk about that here. We do some very dirty things. I mean, it's really very insulting. He did not just put his hand in his, he put his left hand in Keshi's mouth, thereby in effect saying, oh, you're hungry? You can say, well, here, chew on this. And he puts his left hand into Keshi's mouth. And then what happens, we find out what really what substance Keshi has. When Krishna's hand went into his mouth, then immediately Dasanar Mula Nimuktai, the next verse describes, that all of Keshi's teeth were knocked out. The Vishnu Purana says, Sita Bravayayava Eva, that his teeth were just like thunderbolts, but those teeth were knocked out. Prabhupada says in Nectar of Devotion, anyone who has any desire or aspiration for satisfying his senses by becoming more and more important, either in the material sense or in the spiritual sense, cannot actually relish the really sweet taste of devotional service. Keshi's teeth are knocked out. He can't taste, he can't appreciate the sweetness of Krishna. Krishna just puts his left hand in his mouth and knocks his teeth out. And then what happens, the next verse in the Bhagavatam describes what is the substance that Keshi has. Landam Vrisrijan Kshitova Su. That Keshi at that time passes urine and stool. Keshi's full of it. That's all he's got. He's just full of urine and stool, and he's got a big, big mouth. And when Krishna puts his hand in his mouth, his left hand, then we see what really happens to Keshi. The Vishnu Purana describes Dvipade, significant word, Dvipade Prishta Prachardra, Shavanai Nasi Ke Keshinas Tui Dvida Bhute Sakale Dve Virejito. That Keshi's body at that time was split in two parts. Each of them had 2 feet, half a back, half a tail, 1 ear, 1 eye, and 1 nostril. So Keshi, he's duplicitous. And Krishna shows it like this. And also we see that Keshi has some digestive problems. Although he's making a big noise and he's entering like he's a big, big devotee, Ami Bodho Bhakta Acharya Abhiman, he actually can't digest Krishna. He can make a show and represent himself as a big person, but he can't actually do anything proper. There's a nice story also about the previous life of Keshi. When Keshi was killed, then he took the form of a Devata, whose name was Kumuda. Kumuda told Krishna, Ham vaya Kumudo, Nam Madhava. My name is Kumuda. And he said that Tejas Rupavan Viro Jishnu's Chatra Brahmim Danan. I am a Devata, and I'm a servant of Indra. And I'm very powerful. Tejasvi Rupavan, I'm very heroic and glorious. And what do I do? What is my service? Chatra Brahmim Dadan. I carry the umbrella for Indra. That umbrella is the insignia of a king. And this Kumuda, that was his job, to carry that insignia of the king for Indra. And he explained to Krishna that when Vritrasura was killed, then Indra, to become free from the sin of killing a Brahmin, performed an Ashwamedha Yajna. And he let loose a horse. And at that time, I saw this horse, very nice horse. I was very proud, and I decided I want to ride that horse for myself. That horse was meant for the sacrifice of Indra. But I jumped up on that horse, and I started going here and there, and then Indra sent the Maruts, and they tied me up with ropes, and then Indra cursed me. You become a demon. And for 2 manvantaras, you'll have the form of a horse. And this is why he became Keshi. And then Keshi prayed to Krishna. Kinkaram kuru mam deva tvad angro lagnamanasam namastubhyam bhagavate sarva lokaikat sakshine. That Kumuda then prayed to Krishna. He said, Kinkaram kuru mam deva. Please make me into your servant. He said that my heart now is fixed on your lotus feet. I offer my obeisances to you, and I take shelter of you. And then Kumuda circumambulated Krishna, and he entered into a flower airplane, Vaikuntha airplane, and he went to the spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada, in a lecture, rival lecture in Dallas, Texas in 1975, he said, very beautiful thing, listen to this. Krishna in Vrindavan has got a great family. He's got his father, he's got his mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj. He's got so many friends, hundreds and thousands of boyfriends, girlfriends, the trees, the plants, the flowers, the fruits, the land, the water, the cows, the calves. He's surrounded by a great family. He's not a single person. Suppose if we say, now the president is coming. So president means he's not coming alone. He's coming with secretaries, ministers, military secretaries, and so many other people. He's not alone. So if the material, insignificant president is always surrounded by associates, then what to speak of Krishna? Krishna always comes with his devotees. And Prabhupada says this Krishna consciousness movement means to become trained up sufficiently how to enter Krishna's great family. This Krishna conscious movement means to train up people to be detached from false family and enter into real family. This is our desire. we want to enter into Vrindavan. We want to create Vrindavan. But there's a problem. Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes this nicely in one song in Kalyana Kalpataru. I'll sing this, and you can chant Hare Krishna in response. Amito Vaishnava, e Buri Haile, Amana Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Pratistasa Asi, Hridaya Dushiva, Haribo Niraya Gami. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Amito Vaishnava, e Buri Hoile. If I start thinking, I'm a Vaishnav, see, I have tilak on, 3 bands, I'm initiated. I have this is called a paita and a risa. I'm a Brahmin. If I start thinking I'm a Vaishnava, e Buri Hoili, that mentality rises in me, Amani na hobo ami, then I won't be able to give respect to others. It's nice, everybody should come to Vrindavan. But when Keshi comes, he doesn't give respect to the Brijbasis. And Bhaktivinoda says, Pratistasa Asi. I'll desire then some pratista. Pratista Rajabir Badham Kamadyavatmapati Bihi Chitvatu Sangarantastan Agade Pantumam Bataha. Raghunath Das Goswami in Brajbilastava gives this beautiful prayer. Pratista Rajabir Badham. He says that I'm on my way to Vrindavan, but some highway robbers have come and they've tied me up with the ropes of pratista, of the desire for fame and position. And I can't go. So chitvatu sangarantas. Chitva means to cut. I need someone to come and cut these. Chitvatu sangarantas. Agare pantumam bataha. I'm calling out for the devotees of the killer of the Aga demon. Aga represents sin personified. The killer of the Aga demon is Krishna. And so I'm calling out to Krishna's devotees, please come, cut this rope of pratista. How do they cut it? Not with a knife. They cut it with their sharp words, which cut very deep into the heart. So Bhaktivinoda, he says, Amito Vaishnava e Buri Hoili, Amanina Hobom Ami. If I think I'm a Vaishnava, I won't give respect to others. Pratistasa Asi Hridaya Dushibe. My heart will become contaminated by this pratista. And then what will be my result? Horibo Nirayagami. I'll go to hell. Because I don't appreciate the Vaishnavas. So we want to enter into Vrindavan, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his, this is my work. I just sit around all day long on the computer and we make magazines and things, and Maharaj encourages us with it. We just collect different kathas and things from different places, so don't mind, it's our thing. In his Navadidam Mahatmya, in chapter 31, he speaks about Prodamaya, and how this Prodamaya energy is there, which covers the Dham. And so there's some people, they're not entering into the Dham, they're on top of the Dham. And how does that work? So I'll sing a few of these verses from Navadam Mahatmya. You can chant Hare Krishna in response. We don't have a mridanga player, huh? Atikarma dosha jam Vaishnaviti dvesha Tarimaya andakori deya mana klesha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Tarimaya anda, in the form of Mahamaya. This Prodamaya, Ati Karma Dosha, she blinds these people who are Vaishnaviti Dvesha, who are envious of devotees. They can't see, they can't enter into Vrindavan because Vrindavan means the devotees. Establishing Vrindavan doesn't just mean making an amusement park with an Agasura roller coaster and charging money or this, but establishing Vrindavan means establishing devotees. And this is what we were saying last night when Candramauli Maharaj asked Radhanath Maharaj, please speak about GEV, about Govardhan Eco Village. Radhanath Maharaj didn't speak about Govardhan Eco Village, did he? He just talked about devotees. But he was speaking about Govardhan Eco Village. This is Vrindavan. Vrindavan is the devotees. Some people think the Brijbasis are bewildered by Krishna, but they're wrong. It's Krishna who's bewildered by the devotees, the Brijbasis. The devotees are so very, very important. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes that Proto-Maya, she causes so much troubles to materialistic people. She doesn't allow them to enter the Dham, those persons who are envious of devotees. They may be chanting. They may be dressed in sari and dhoti and tilak and kunti mala. But if they're envious of the devotees, then they can't sneak in. Proto-Maya Devi sees them and stops them. And they just enter into the external part of the Dham, not in the internal part of the Dham. And Bhaktivinoda says, Jadi kona bhagyadai, if by some bhagya, some good fortune, sadhu sandapai, someone gets association with an elevated devotee. And that's why we go on parikrama. That's why we go on Tirtha Yatra, to associate with Gurudev, to associate with advanced Vaishnavas. Not just to buy a t-shirt. I went to Vrindavan. I lost my heart in Vrindavan. More like I lost some of my money in Vrindavan. I spent so much. If we associate with devotees, and Tavi Krishna Chaitanya Sambandha Asitoi, then we'll establish our relationship with Krishna, with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, in one article in Harmonist, he said, unless one develops faith, one can see neither a pure devotee nor the Supreme Lord. Right? So you're coming to Vrindavan, but there's no pure devotees there. Prabhupada was the last one. And Krishna now, his pockets are empty. He doesn't have any more wealth. He doesn't have any more pure devotees to send. You're all out of luck. If we didn't take initiation from Prabhupada, we're all very misfortunate. This is what they're saying. Unless someone has faith, they can't see a pure devotee, nor the Supreme Lord. And then Bhaktivinoda says that such persons will inevitably, simply engage in three kinds of activities. Pick whichever one you like the best or combinations thereof. If you don't have faith, you won't be able to see a pure devotee. You won't be able to see Krishna. You will simply indulge in envious, violent, or blasphemous activities. And you won't enter Vrindavan. And you may think, I'm a big, big person. I know so much. I've exposed this rascal and that rascal. But we don't know Krishna. And Proto-Maya keeps us out of Vrindavan because we're not respecting the devotees. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Sorry I've gone so late. I think you're probably getting a little nervous because you have to leave soon. Mataji, you have some comment?
I wish we didn't have to go. I wish we could sit and listen to this more. It's amazing nectar, and I cannot thank you from the bottom of my heart.
She's trying to give you the microphone.
I'm so grateful that, you're here and you're giving us this amazing nectar to relish and to understand what is really Krishna Bhakti. So we're so grateful to Guru Maharaj and to you
Mataji,
that you're here.
I have to just be honest.
Okay.
I'm just a small baby who can't even walk. But Maharaj smiled in the beginning. And because of his smile, we have some strength. That's all, just
Hare Krishna.
by the mercy of the devotees.
This very beautiful quote which you said, unless we have faith, we cannot see the pure devotee, we cannot see Krishna, and then we indulge in those. So how can we get this faith?
By associating with those devotees. You get that faith. I made a comment last night. Candramauli Maharaj was kind of poking me last night that I should say something. And I was remembering, because Radhanath Maharaj was speaking about what is our qualification. And Prabhupada, and he's quoting, the devotee's asking Prabhupada, what is our qualification? Prabhupada said, I've created that. And then, sorry? And then Prabhupada speaking about what is his qualification. Prabhupada was saying, my only qualification is I'm serving my Guru Maharaj. My Guru Maharaj made a similar kind of comment once. He said, your only qualification is your disqualification. In other words, when we own it, when we accept our fallen position. In Chaitanya, in Harinam Chintamani, Haridas Thakur says, Amita Adama, Tumi Adama Tarana, Ubaye Sambande Patita Pavan. He says, this is who I am. Amita Adama. I'm fallen. We all want to know, am I a cowherd boy? Am I a peacock? Am I a gopi? Haridas Thakur says it all. Amita Adama. I'm fallen. And I know who you are. Tumita Adama Tarana. You're the deliverer of the fallen. Ubaye Sambandhi. This is our connection. When we have that kind of attitude, my Guru Maharaj used to call it Atma Krandana, or the crying of the soul. Because it means that I'm so sick of all these different designations. You know, I tried being a policeman, I tried being a cowboy, I tried being a movie star, I tried this thing and that thing, and being a handsome guy, and I tried so many different costumes and identities in this world, and none of them have brought me happiness. And who am I? Why am I here? When we begin to cry like that, then Krishna sends sadhu to us. And this is a solution for our problems in our society. It's the solution comes with us. We look for external solutions, we should look internally. Everybody's saying, where's a bona fide guru? Who's a bona fide guru? How can we understand who's a bona fide guru? But there's a saying in Hindi, Sishya mili laki laki, Guru mili laki laki, Sishya mili ek. No problem finding a bona fide guru. There's millions and millions of bona fide gurus in the spiritual world. But to find even one bona fide disciple, that's very, very difficult. If we make ourselves qualified by crying to Krishna with sincerity, then Krishna will definitely send someone. We don't have to depend on our friends or our parents or even the GBC to tell us who's guru. Krishna will send. Is that helpful? Okay. Maharaj, I'm sorry, would you like to correct anything, chastise me? That would be very nice.
You put me in a position of Casey now.
I'm Casey, Maharaj. I'm a Bodo Bhakta. Oh, Acharya. I know Casey very well.
I can't worry like he is. I wouldn't call him.
Krishna.
But I guess the only thing is you have to stop us from I think you have to, but in the material world, everything goes on, but it starts and it ends, and it starts and it ends, and it starts and it ends. But you get in the spiritual world, it doesn't stop.
You know, Maharaj, one of the things, I first met Candramauli Maharaj maybe, I don't know, 1984 something. It was sat on the pick. Something, anyway, a long time ago. And I know a little something of what Maharaj has gone through. To quote Niranjan Maharaj once, he told a group of leaders in Kazakhstan, we happened to be there, and he told them, he said, I have unlimited reasons to leave this movement. Niranjan Maharaj said that. I have unlimited reasons to leave this movement. I've been through so many things. He said, but I'm here because I want to serve Srila Prabhupada. So when I see any of the Prabhupada disciples, older devotees, Maharaj, I think, my gosh, you've been through so many things. And thank you so much for being here, Maharaj.
Well, we had something called Vrindavan. We were still trying to make it, but we never, well, it's a process. There was a lot of attacks from the Keshis and the Udistas.
It's kind of entertaining sometimes, isn't it? Hare Krishna.
Putana was most prominent. In the skies always.
So, my humble hope, with all the devotees, I'm sure you've collected so many wonderful kathas from Maharaj. I'm very fortunate, Maharaj, I haven't been able to come.
I picked the best subject. I picked the subject you can't overwhelm. That was still a problem. I tried to speak about Krishna.
I got to hear Shutakirti one day. It was nice. And Radhanath Maharaj last night.
Trying to speak about Krishna, I would be tripping and falling. Talking about Prabhupada is an ocean of unlimited mercy that flows.
So I hope all the devotees, when you go, you make some notes, she was doing I saw, on things from Guru Maharaj and things that, and maybe in a week or two, pull them out. Sometimes what we used to do in yatras, we'd write ourselves a letter and just express all the wonderful things that are going on in that, and then just put it in a shelf somewhere in a drawer. And then in 6 months or 2 months or whatever, when you're having a hard time, you pull that letter out and you read the letter, "Dear self, this was such a nice yatra. This happened and that happened. And Maharaj told me this, and we went through this thing. Remember those things." So anyway, I want to thank you all very much, and Maharaj for letting us say, get a little chance to serve something. Maharaj, maybe you want to say some last words to devotees, I think, huh?
Don't leave.
Don't leave.
You don't want to leave, Prabhu. Stay here.
You were wondering at the beginning, you have to go back to that place.
So don't go. But what does it mean? You have to go, but don't go. In Orissa, when I first went there in 1993, I'm an English editor. It's my service. And devotees, when they were leaving, the local devotees, they'd say, "I'm just now coming, Prabhu." And finally, I told them, I said, "Look, you should learn proper English, and you're leaving the room, you say, 'I'm going.' And when you're entering the room, you say, 'I'm coming.'" And they said, "No, you don't understand. We never like to say that we're leaving. We always like to say, 'I'm just now coming.'" So when you go, you can just think like, "I'm just now coming for the next yatra with Maharaj." Next time.
It's spiritual lingo.
Mataji have something? She's holding a hand up.
Hare Krishna, this question is not from me, my child. He just left with his father, but he questions me. Yesterday I was talking to him about you, and then he questioned me. He didn't exactly question you, but I think I can put that question in front of you. So he made simple questions like, why Krishna is so crooked?
Why is, my hearing says,
Why Krishna is crooked?
why is Krishna crooked? Oh my gosh. He's crooked in 3 places. My grandma's explained it indicates Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. That he's crooked in his feet, he's crooked in his waist, and he's crooked in his lips and his eyes. Yeah. There's different meanings of crooked. Another reason he's crooked is because he wants to touch Shrimati Radharani's sari. And therefore we see his foot is like that. He's crooked in different ways. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, he's straight. Because he's in the mood of Radharani. Okay? Mataji, your cough drop saved me. Okay. Oh, cheers.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Tell him he should always be a mamachari.
Yes, I told him already that already Prabhu has given you an instruction. You should not neglect that.
Mamacharis make the best brahmacharis too.
You said mamachari?
He's very attached to his mother. Okay. So thank you all very much, Maharaj. Thank you. I hope you all have a very safe trips wherever you're going, and I hope you remember the instructions from Maharaj. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you again. I hope you connect with Maharaj again very soon. Thank you all. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Candramauli Maharaj ki, Gaur Premanandi, Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha, Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna. Hare Chananda.